Hello and welcome to Bespoke Unit. I'm CP and in this video I'm reviewing Ballantine's finest blended Scotch whisky. As per usual, this review will be conducted using the Bespoke Unit Whisky Matrix, a quantifiable review formula that you can either use at home for your own whiskies or you can refer to if you don't have time to watch the entirety of this video. Simply look in the description below where you'll find a link to the full written review and the final PDF version of this, which you can quickly use to evaluate the characteristics of the whisky. Today, Ballantine's is owned by Pernod Ricard, but it has a fascinating history. In 1827, George Ballantine opened a grocery shop in Edinburgh. His son, Archibald, opened a second shop in Glasgow, and he focused on wine and spirits. Quickly, he started to have quite prestigious clients, such as the Hindu royal family. Therefore, George's second son, George Jr., started getting involved in the company as well, where they set up an exports business for wine and spirits, and notably Scotch whisky. Over a century later, the brand was acquired by Allied Domecq, who was then bought by Pernod Ricard. Around about this period, in 2002, its Dumbarton facilities were transferred to Strathclyde in Glasgow. Ballantine's is blended with 50 single malts, including Milton Duff and Glenburgie. It also includes 4 single grains. Now, with all that being said, let's jump right in. So we're going to take a look at the Robe first. We have a nice candied orange hue with a relatively clear body. In terms of legs, they come down quite thick, but somewhat fast as well. There are no obvious whirls, maybe slight effect when you add a drop of water, which goes to show that this has probably been chill filtered. Next, moving on to the nose. Now, it doesn't offer overt intensity. It is quite unctuous though on the nose. There is a slight bit of complexity and a slight diversity in the notes. It's quite lucid as well. You're looking at aromas of fresh walnut, some toffee, a bit of butter, and a whiff of smoke. Now let's give this a try. Overall, the primary flavour is quite sweet with a peppery mouthfeel. It opens with some distinctive red apple notes, which are caramelized, so let's say toffee apples, with that same walnut note that was picked up on the nose. Once moving into the heart, the mid-palate, we're starting to see some salted nuts, notably salted hazelnut, with some golden raisin, which gives it a Venus characteristic. There's also a hint of brine, which is probably brought along by that salted hazelnut note that I mentioned just earlier. It's quite complex actually for an affordable blend. It has a nice smooth palate, a nice smooth texture. That said, it's not incredibly mature, but as a blend goes for this price range, it's quite impressive. I'm going to just try this again so we can have a look at the finish. The finish is very warming. You're looking at notably some oak notes from the barrel aging, maybe a hint of peat, but it's quite subtle, as well as a long vanilla finish. In fact, the length of the finish is surprisingly lingering. It does last for quite a while on the palate. Overall, a very pleasant experience. And speaking of which, we're now going to talk about the overall experience, which looks at the presentation and some high usage thoughts. So first of all, the label, it is quite distinctive with this proud crest in the top and the middle and a wax seal at the bottom and the name in its well-known italic logo. It has a slightly off-white color. Some people may look at this, maybe find it a little bit dated, but overall I think it's nicely presented and embraces its heritage. As for the packaging, there is none, but in terms of cork quality, we don't have a cork. We have quite an interesting cap that uses plastic. I'm not sure exactly what the function of this is. Perhaps it improves the seal compared to regular plastic, but it does feel pretty solid compared to your regular cork, to your regular screw top. In terms of occasion, when cheap or let's say affordable blends are concerned, usually they're not something you'd like to dish out on a formal event. You really want to keep them for more casual drinking, using as mixers or drinking on the rocks. However, Ballantine's does have a flavor profile that would lend itself to some more formal events. If you're in a budget, serving a large party, or if you're using it as a mixer, it's a good choice. And some people do have a taste for blended Scotch, so this would be a good recommendation. In fact, if you're at a bar and you're looking at the various selections, if there isn't a single malt that really catches your eye or isn't in your current budget, you see a bottle of Ballantine's, you probably won't be disappointed by the experience. And then coming on to the value, so in the USA you're looking at about $44 RRP. However, here in France, a little bottle like this is about 15 euros. So in terms of price point, it is nothing short of excellent. And finally, let's just talk about some pairing options. So in terms of snacks or any dishes for accompanying it, consider some milk chocolate or even some fresh walnuts, as this was a frequent visitor in the bouquet, or maybe even a crème brûlée. That would be quite a pleasant pairing indeed. As for cigars, and we're very fond of cigars here at Bespoke Unit, one suggestion that came to mind was the Plasencia Reserva Original that we have also reviewed independently. You can see here and down in the description. This is a cigar that has quite a medium body, but it has a rich character. It's very approachable and it's easy for beginners to smoke. You could also consider other similar blends that do have a medium flavor profile. I suggest you head to bespokeunit.com/cigars/best/first, which is a link in the description where you'll see our suggestions for beginner cigars if you're interested. Overall, Ballantine's is a very surprising blend. Maybe I'm a bit of a snob, but I tend to turn my nose up when I see blended Scotch and I'm a bit wary of sampling them. But out of all the blended Scotch whiskies that we've sampled so far, this is probably among my favorites. It does have a rich character, a nice complexity to it that makes it very easy to drink, neat on the rocks with a dash of water if you want, but it's not really necessary. If you want to use it in a mix in a cocktail, that's perfectly permissible. Go for it. You drink your drink how you enjoy it, but it also go quite well in a number of cocktails indeed. That's all from me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and leave us a comment if you have any questions about Ballantine's, your own experiences that you wish to share, or any requests for future videos. Until our next video, why don't you head to bespokeunit.com/whiskey to see more of our whiskey resources. You can also go to bespokeunit.com/spirits to see our vast spirits and alcohol content. And you can also go to bespokeunit.com, check out the homepage. There'll be more men's lifestyle subjects, and I'm sure there'll be something that you will love.